Well, hello there, my friend. Ricky Burrows here from rickyburrows.com. Today, we're going to talk about a few leadership principles that I had to implement quickly in order to de-escalate the situation. Our church is moving from one location to another, so you can imagine the chaos that took place tonight. It was chaotic. There was a lot of people that showed up, and there was no delegation. There was very little. It was more like people just showed up and then they figured it out for themselves. And when you get into that kind of situation, you're going to have a lot of opinions. And the one opinion that I had to deal with was that he felt that he really, really needed a job. And when he started doing something, he went like 1000% in that direction, and he wasn't thinking about any kind of like consequences that could potentially happen with it. And the danger with that is that something actually could happen. Somebody could fall off the scaffolding to get the speakers down. Somebody could, just damage equipment. And this stuff is very, very expensive. It's very delicate. And the whole time the guy was seeking validation that he knew what he was doing. And what I had to do was, if I didn't interject, if I didn't say something, he was just going to continue, and he was going to get, he was going to get himself hurt, or he was going to get somebody else hurt, or he was going to damage the equipment. And so when I saw that he simply needed a word of encouragement, I just made the guy feel like he was worth like $1,000,000. I was like, hey, you're doing a great job, you know, and I was pointing out stuff that he was doing. I was like, all right, let's work together and get this done. And I tried to give him a sense of value, that he was actually contributing to something, and he was very, very responsive to that. And the more I did that, the more he responded to me when I said, no, let's not do that. Let's do this instead. And he had a lot of respect for that. But when somebody came in and they didn't build that rapport, they didn't build any kind of like, you know, you know, it was actually the people who actually were in charge. They came in and said, hey, let's not do that. He was very unresponsive to that. And so when I saw that, and I immediately saw that we needed to listen to this guy, I said, no, wait, all right, you speak, go ahead. And he said something, and I realized what he was saying. I was like, you know what, he's probably right. So that's what I said to this guy, and he started having a meltdown. He couldn't handle the fact that he had to break his attention off of doing what he wanted to do and focus on what somebody else wanted to do. It's really a source of pride, and it's not very productive. So I completely, like, in my thought process, I disconnected from this guy, and I just focused on what the sound guy wanted. And it was doing what he wanted. I was taking down the speakers in the manner that he wanted. And the other guy he was just having his meltdown. And I was just saying, look, we need to just continue to work together. This is, he works around this stuff all the time. We're just going to stay focused on it. I was like, you're doing a great job. And all throughout the whole thing, I just kept validating his need to feel valuable. And that was something that I really have never had to deal with, is somebody who just feels that they have no value, and they're constantly like emotional. And he even said it throughout the whole thing. He said, I don't like to work with people. I don't get along with people. And I'm like, yeah, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I can see why. It's because you're trying to do everything yourself, and you're not trying to figure out what's the best possible solution so that everybody can work together, or it could be, you know, it's like beneficial towards the end goal, the end result. And it was always about like, I am valuable, and it was that statement that I am valuable. It's really not necessary. So in the long, as soon as I saw him, he moved on to another spot. He started doing something. I started chatting with some people. Then I came out of the room, and I saw him trying to do something else, and he was like wailing a hammer on something, and I'm like, I don't think we should be doing that, man. That's, that looks like it's expensive, you know. And so finally, I got the nerve to just say, all right, stop, stop doing what you're doing. He's like, well, you want to try this? You go ahead. So he got down, I went up. I was like, okay, look, we need the right tool to do this. We don't have it here. I have it at home, so I'm going to bring it in tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to come in and we're going to pack everything. So he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And he got up and he, stormed off, and everybody else was like, okay, that makes sense. But nobody else stepped up to the plate and did that. Nobody else looked at it and said, hey, we need this tool to get the job done. So you really just have to put your foot down with a calm tone and with assertiveness, where you understand what's going on, and the solution to the problem is not by overreacting. It never solves any problems. So, and nobody cares to listen to you at that point. So what you have to do is you just have to analyze the situation and say, look, this is the solution to the problem, and this is how it's going to get solved. So who has the tools? Nobody? Okay, we'll bring it tomorrow. And then everybody agreed with it. I've never been in a situation where it was chaotic like that and people listened to me. It was always kind of the opposite, where I was the chaotic one. I was the one who used to be that guy, where I had to feel validated. I had to feel validated. But, it was the fact that it's because that I've been hanging around leaders. I listen to leaders. I read books from leaders. I learn, I do, and then I teach. And so leadership lessons that I've personally learned, man, just analyze the situation. Look at what's being done. Look at what's not being done. And then figure out how to solve the problem, and then just go do it. And then people are just going to follow you. Nobody's going to yell at you. Nobody's going to, freak out at you. If anything, they may say like, hey, we've already got people working on that over there. They're going to take care of that. It's really how that's the worst that can happen. So guys, that's my leadership principle for you. So what you want to do is you just want to stay as calm as possible, and don't mirror what other people are doing. Don't mirror the guy who's having a panic attack, because he respects the guy who's in control of his emotions. He does not respect the guy who's even more emotional than he is. That just says, I have no control over the situation. But if you have control over yourself, then he's going to say, okay, I don't know what to do. Let's just listen to this guy. And that's how it just naturally flows. It just works that way. And it was such a cool thing to see, like firsthand right there. I've been listening to people who do this all the time, and it was right there in front of me. And I had people coming up to me and it's like, you did a good job, man, because he was just a loose cannon. It was like you were perfectly, you're supposed to be together. And I was like, yeah, man, it looks that way. So if you like these kind of videos and you want to learn a little bit more about me, you want to learn about what I do, go ahead. I'll provide a link in the description below, so go ahead and click on it and like and subscribe this video. I will see you on the next channel. Take care, guys.